Welcome, everyone. Before we begin, let me tell you something that most videos won't tell you. This is not going to be a list of productivity hacks. It's not going to say, just make a to-do list, or wake up early. And no, this won't be another boring motivational speech that sounds good, but changes nothing. This is going to be different. Because this isn't just about procrastination. It's about your future. It's about the version of you that you've been delaying for years. It's about the dream you've been putting off. The goal you always say you'll start tomorrow. The life you know you're meant to live, but still haven't stepped into. If you're tired of watching your days disappear one by one, if you're tired of lying to yourself with, "I'll do it later," if you're tired of feeling guilty, behind, lazy, stuck, unmotivated, then this video is for you. Because procrastination isn't just some bad habit. It's a silent thief, stealing your time, your growth, your confidence, and eventually, your life. And the worst part? Most people will never even realize it until it's too late. That's why this video is important. Because this isn't just about being more productive. This is about taking back control of your time, your habits, your potential, and your identity. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 10 most powerful truths that will finally break the chains of procrastination. Each truth is raw, emotional, and real. Each step is based on what actually works, not what sounds nice. You'll not only understand why you procrastinate, you'll know exactly how to stop. You'll learn how to move, even when you don't feel like it. You'll learn how to build discipline, even when motivation is gone. And most importantly, you'll learn how to become the person who doesn't just talk about dreams, but actually builds them. If you're serious about changing your life, not just watching videos, but actually doing something, then stay with me until the end. Because by the time we're done, procrastination won't feel like just a habit anymore. It'll feel like something you refuse to live with ever again. This isn't just a powerful video. It's also a secret weapon for your English. You're not just learning life-changing lessons. You're training your ears, your brain, and your voice to speak better English, faster. So every second you watch, you're getting stronger, in life and in language. Let's begin. Step 1. Stop waiting for motivation. Create a system. Let's destroy the biggest lie first. I'll start when I feel motivated. That one sentence has ruined millions of dreams. And here's the truth. Motivation is not coming. Motivation is not some magical force that shows up and makes you productive. It's a feeling. And feelings are unreliable. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. And if your entire future depends on waiting for the right feeling, then your future is in serious danger. Let me explain how your brain works in the simplest way. Your brain is not built to chase goals. It's built to avoid pain. That means anytime a task feels uncomfortable, scary, overwhelming, boring, or uncertain, your brain will push you to delay it. That's why you can scroll for hours, but not open the book. That's why you can watch 15 videos on success, but not work on your own. The truth is, you're not lazy. You just don't have a system strong enough to override your brain's fear. That's what successful people have. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems. Let me give you the perfect real-world example. A student named Nick wanted to study for 2 hours daily. But every day he waited for the right time, the right mood, the perfect environment. And so, days passed. then weeks, then months. Nothing changed until he made one simple rule. Every day at 7 a.m., I sit at the desk for 30 minutes. Even if I don't want to, even if I don't study properly, I just sit and show up. The first few days were hard. He didn't study much, but he followed the system. He kept showing up, and slowly, it became automatic. He didn't need motivation anymore. He had a non-negotiable routine. That's the secret. Instead of asking, "How long should I work?" ask, "When do I start, no matter what?" Because when the start time is a habit, the work becomes a lifestyle. You don't need to feel inspired. You just need to show up. Even if you sit there and do nothing for the first 10 minutes, that's okay. The point is to teach your brain that this is what we do now. Just like brushing your teeth. You don't wait to feel excited about it. You just do it. You want to change your life? Start by making your actions non-negotiable. Not when you feel like it, not when you're ready, but when the clock hits the time you chose. Because waiting for motivation is like waiting for rain in a drought. It may come, it may not, but systems don't wait. Systems work, even when you don't want to. Step 2. Make the task too small to reject. Most people don't procrastinate because the task is hard. They procrastinate because the task feels too big in their mind. And when something feels big, your brain labels it as dangerous. Dangerous to your energy, dangerous to your comfort, dangerous to your ego, dangerous to your peace. So what does it do? It protects you. It pushes the task away. It says, "Not now. Let's do it later. We're tired. We need to prepare more." But it's not protecting you. It's paralyzing you. And here's the raw truth. Your brain would rather stay in a loop of guilt and comfort than risk doing something uncomfortable and new. That's why people keep saying, "I want to start writing. I want to start exercising. I want to start learning." But weeks pass, and nothing happens. Because the goal is too big, and the brain keeps resisting. So how do you break this loop? You don't fight the resistance directly. You make the task so small that your brain has nothing to fight. Not small and ridiculously small. So small it feels almost stupid. Because that's when your brain lets you in. Let's say your goal is to write an article. Your brain panics. That's too much. It'll take hours. You're not ready. But what if your only task is, open the document and write one sentence? That's it. Just one sentence. Now your brain goes, "Oh, that's easy, fine." And once you start, something magical happens. You keep going. Because movement creates momentum, and momentum kills procrastination. Let me give you a powerful, real-world truth here. Some of the most successful authors, coders, and creators in the world don't wait for huge sessions of 5 or 6 hours. They have one rule. Start with something you can't say no to. Even if it's 2 minutes. Even if it's one sentence. Even if it's one push-up. Even if it's opening the page, reading one line, and closing it. Because the goal is not to finish. The goal is to start, without resistance. Over time, these silly little actions grow into full-blown focus sessions. But you'll never get there if you keep expecting yourself to climb the whole mountain before lacing your shoes. So here's what you do now. Break your task into the smallest possible first step. Make it so small it feels almost pointless. Then, do it anyway. Why? Because this is not about achievement. It's about identity. Every time you take action, even small, you're proving to your brain, "I am someone who shows up. I am someone who begins. I am not scared of the first step. And that proof becomes confidence. That confidence becomes consistency. And that consistency becomes your new lifestyle. So if you're stuck, here's your new rule. Don't ask, what do I have to do today? Ask, what's the smallest step I can take, right now, that I won't reject? Start there, and watch how the floodgates open. Step 3. Delete the option to escape. Let's now expose the next deep truth. You keep procrastinating because you always have a way out. You tell yourself, if I don't do it now, I'll do it later. If I get distracted, I'll catch up. If I fail, it's fine. I'll reset tomorrow. But that's the trap. Because when your brain knows there's a backup plan, it never takes the main plan seriously. It's like trying to stay faithful in a relationship, but always keeping another person on standby. It kills the commitment. And that's what you've been doing with your dreams. You've been keeping your distractions close. You've been giving yourself soft exits. And the worst part? You've been doing it in secret so that no one knows you're avoiding the work. Let's get brutally honest now. You keep your phone nearby while working. You keep your TV just a remote away. You keep your social apps logged in. You keep your YouTube tab open. You keep your notifications on. You keep your excuses polished and ready. You're not just procrastinating. You're building an environment where failure is easy. So if you're serious about breaking this, you need to destroy your escape routes. You need to create a world where doing the task is not a choice. It's the only path forward. Here's how you do that. Turn your phone off. Completely. Not silent. Office block access to distracting websites with an app or browser extension. Remove all entertainment devices from your workspace. Put yourself in a public or structured place where slacking off is impossible, like a library, co-working space, or even a quiet cafe. Tell someone what you're working on, and promise them proof when it's done. Why? Because when there's no way out, your brain finds a way through. Let me give you a harsh but powerful example. There's a psychological phenomenon called the burning bridge effect. When a person removes all options to retreat, they become unstoppable because they know there's no plan B. Imagine this. 2 warriors are sent to a distant land to conquer it. They arrive by boat. But the commander gives an unexpected order. Burn the boats. Now there's no going home. They either win or they die trying. And that's what gives them the strength to fight harder than ever before. That's the same mindset you need. Because as long as your distractions are nearby, as long as you have a later, as long as failure feels safe, you'll keep running. But the moment you burn the boats, the moment you destroy your escape, your commitment becomes real. So here's your challenge. Right now, not later. Delete one escape route. Block that app. Turn off that device. Announce your goal. Remove your excuse. And watch how serious your brain becomes. Because without an exit, your only direction is forward. Step 4. Rewire the voice inside your head. Let me ask you something uncomfortable but honest. What do you call yourself when no one's listening? When you fail to finish something? When you waste another day scrolling? When you miss another deadline? What does your inner voice say? I'm such a loser. I'm lazy. I'll never change. What's wrong with me? If that sounds familiar, then I need you to stop right here and absorb this truth. You are not a procrastinator. You are someone who's been tricked into believing that you are. And that belief has become your identity. You've repeated it so many times, your brain has accepted it as a fact. It's no longer just something you do. It's become who you are. That's why change feels impossible. Because you're not just fighting a habit. You're fighting your own self-image. You're trying to act like a focused, productive person, while still calling yourself lazy on the inside. That's like trying to swim with an anchor tied to your leg. You will never change your behavior until you change what you believe about yourself. Let me explain how this works in the simplest way. Every time you repeat a phrase, out loud or in your head, your brain listens, and it starts collecting evidence to support that phrase. If you keep saying, "I'm a mess, I can't finish anything," your brain will start showing you memories that prove it. See, you never completed that course. Remember how you abandoned your morning routine? Look at that to-do list from last month. Still empty. But here's what no one tells you. Your brain is not showing you truth. It's showing you what it's been told to find. If you say you're lazy, it finds laziness. If you say you're undisciplined, it finds proof. If you say, "I always give up," it becomes prophecy. But what happens if you start telling it something different? What happens if you begin saying, "I am someone who finishes. I follow through. I may move slow, but I move. I take action, even when I don't feel like it. I no longer identify as a procrastinator." At first, it feels like a lie. It feels fake. You won't believe it. Your brain will scream, "That's not true." But you say it anyway. You say it every day. You write it down. You speak it into mirrors. You repeat it before working. You whisper it before sleeping. And slowly, your brain starts to shift, because repetition creates belief. Belief creates identity. And identity creates behavior. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your identity. If your identity is, "I always quit," you will always quit. But if your identity becomes, "I keep showing up, even on bad days, even when it's hard, even when no one claps," then guess what? You win. Not because you became perfect, but because you stopped letting your past control your label. So here's your next action. Every time you catch yourself saying something self-destructive, stop. Interrupt the pattern. Say out loud, "That's not who I am anymore." Then speak a new truth, one that you want to live into, even if you don't believe it yet. Because if you say it enough, you will become it. That's how you rewire procrastination from the inside out. Not just through behavior, but through identity. Step 5. Let discomfort become your normal. Here is one of the most painful, powerful truths you'll ever hear. You don't fear the task. You fear the feeling that comes with it. It's not the email you're avoiding. It's the anxiety it triggers. It's not the gym. It's the soreness, the effort, the embarrassment. It's not the homework. It's the mental friction of starting. It's not the writing. It's the voice saying it won't be good enough. In short, you procrastinate to escape discomfort. And it makes sense, because your brain is built for survival, not success. And survival means avoid what feels uncomfortable. But here's where things get dangerous. The more you avoid discomfort, the more powerful it becomes. Every time you skip something hard, you train your brain to fear it more. You strengthen the lie that says, "If it doesn't feel easy, it's not meant for me. If I'm uncomfortable, I should stop. If it's painful, I should delay it." And this is how people waste their entire lives. They wait for things to feel good before doing them. They only act when it's convenient. They only push when they're inspired. But nothing great in life is born from comfort. The business, the book, the degree, the transformation. It all comes from doing the thing you don't want to do, again and again, until it becomes who you are. So how do you stop running from discomfort? You stop treating it like an enemy, and you start making it your normal. Here's how. Every day, choose one uncomfortable action. On purpose. Don't wait for it to come. Go find it. Walk toward the discomfort, not around it. Examples. If you're scared to make a phone call, make it first thing in the morning. If you hate waking up early, do it every day for 30 days. If you avoid confrontation, have one honest conversation today. If you fear starting a task, set a timer for 5 minutes and begin without thinking. The point isn't to finish anything. The point is to retrain your brain. You are teaching it this new rule. Discomfort is safe. Discomfort is welcome. Discomfort is growth. Over time, the hard things stop feeling hard, not because they got easier, but because you became stronger. This is what separates winners from dreamers. Winners are not fearless. They're just more comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's the mindset you need now. Stop seeking ease. Stop chasing comfort. Stop waiting for perfect moments. Walk into the fire, sit in the tension, breathe through the resistance. Because every second you survive discomfort, you gain power over procrastination. And soon, you'll stop saying, I can't do this, and start saying, I do hard things. And that's why I succeed. Step 6. You don't need more time. You need more truth. Let's destroy one of the biggest lies right now. People say, I don't have time. I want to do it, but I'm just too busy. When I get some free time, I'll start. That sounds reasonable, but let's be brutally honest. Time is not the problem. You have time. You have the same 24 hours as every successful person on this planet. You have the same number of minutes as the person who's already doing what you're dreaming about. You have the same mornings, the same nights, the same calendar. What you lack is not time. What you lack is truth. The truth that you're not using the time you already have. The truth that you're choosing distraction over discipline. The truth that you're escaping into things that make you feel busy, but keep you broke, stuck, and tired. You don't need 4 more hours. You need 4 seconds of raw honesty with yourself. The kind of honesty that says, I'm spending 3 hours a day consuming content but complaining I have no time to create. I'm spending more time watching people live their dream than working on mine. I scroll, I binge, I lie to myself, and I call it rest, when it's really just avoidance. And this may hurt, because the truth always hurts before it heals. But without truth, there's no transformation. So here's a simple shift that changes everything. Stop measuring your life in hours. Start measuring it in intentions. Because the question is not, how much time do I have? The question is, what am I doing with the time I have that actually moves my life forward? You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need a day off. You don't need a quiet house, an empty inbox, or a break from reality. You need to take the 10 minutes you do have and use them to make something better than another excuse. People say, I work 10 hours a day. I can't focus. But do you really want to know the truth? You're not tired from working too much. You're tired from wasting the little time you do have and carrying the guilt of that waste all day long. Because nothing is more exhausting than knowing you could have done better and didn't. You want your energy back? Use your time wisely and watch how light you feel. Because procrastination is heavy, but progress, even tiny progress, gives you life. So here's your challenge. Right now, write down this question and answer it every morning. What is one thing I can do today, even if it takes 5 minutes, that moves me forward? That's it. No more lies about time. No more hiding behind your schedule. The truth is, you do have time. Now it's your choice to waste it or to wake up. Step 7. Action first. Feeling second. One of the biggest reasons you procrastinate is because you've been trained to believe a dangerous lie. I have to feel like it before I can do it. You believe you need inspiration before writing. You believe you need confidence before speaking. You believe you need motivation before moving. But here's the truth that will change your life. Feelings don't come first. Action comes first. And this is the trap. If you wait for the feeling to come before taking the action, you might never move. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Why? Because your brain always favors comfort, and comfort rarely feels like effort. So your feelings will tell you to stay in bed, to scroll a little longer, to start tomorrow, to do something easier first. But you cannot build your future based on how you feel, because feelings are like weather. They change constantly. They're unreliable. They're unstable. But your dreams, they need consistency. They need structure. They need movement, especially when you feel nothing. Let's go deeper. Every time you say, I don't feel like it, what you're really saying is, I want to act based on emotion, not intention. And this is how you lose. You feel tired, so you skip the work. You feel insecure, so you delay the project. You feel overwhelmed, so you avoid the task. And every time you do that, you train your brain to believe. Discomfort means stop. But successful people? They've trained their minds with the opposite rule. Discomfort means go. Confusion means start. Fear means take the first step. They don't act because they feel ready. They act, and then they start feeling ready. Because the feeling doesn't lead the action. The action creates the feeling. Think about it. You don't feel motivated to write until you've written a few sentences. You don't feel like working out until you've finished the first 10 minutes. You don't feel confident to speak until you start speaking. That first push, that first step, no matter how awkward, small, or slow, creates emotional momentum. And suddenly, what felt impossible becomes doable. What felt heavy feels lighter. What felt scary starts to make sense. So here's your new rule. Never ask, do I feel like it? Ask, what would the best version of me do right now? And then do that, even if it's messy, even if it's slow, even if it feels empty at first. Because when you stop waiting for permission from your emotions, you finally gain power over your life. And that's what destroys procrastination. Not more tips, not more tricks, but the decision to act, even when your feelings beg you not to. Remember, you don't need to feel like it. You need to become the kind of person who moves anyway. That's how you win. Step 8. Discipline isn't a trait. It's a decision. One of the most dangerous beliefs in the world is this. Some people are just naturally disciplined. You look at someone who wakes up early, works hard, exercises, creates, studies, writes, grows, and builds. And you think, they were born that way. They're built differently. They must have something I don't. But that is a lie. A lie designed to make you feel safe in your own inaction. Because the truth is harsh and powerful. No one is born disciplined. Discipline is not a gift. It's a decision. And it's not made once. It's made every single day. Let's go even deeper. You procrastinate not because you lack ability or time or talent. You procrastinate because you haven't trained yourself to choose discipline when it's inconvenient. That's it. Discipline is doing what needs to be done when you don't feel like doing it. Not once, not twice, but again and again and again, until your brain learns that comfort is not your master anymore. But here's the problem. Most people wait to feel disciplined before they act disciplined. And that's why they stay stuck. They think, once I build the habit, I'll be consistent. Once I feel motivated, I'll get serious. Once I get into a rhythm, I'll be unstoppable. But life doesn't work like that. You don't become disciplined after action. You become disciplined through action, even on day one, even when you have no idea what you're doing, even when you feel weak, lazy, tired, scared, and doubtful. That's when discipline matters most. And here's something people rarely say out loud. Discipline feels boring. Discipline feels hard. Discipline feels repetitive. But discipline is what builds freedom. The freedom to live a life without guilt. The freedom to respect yourself again. The freedom to build a life you're proud of. But that freedom has a price. And the currency is daily decisions. So how do you build this kind of discipline? You start small. But more importantly, you stop negotiating. You stop asking yourself, do I feel like it today? Should I skip it just this once? Isn't there a shortcut? You make your plan, and then you follow it like it's law. You don't wait for clarity. You create it. You don't wait for energy. You show up without it. You don't wait to feel strong. You move while weak, and grow stronger through the process. Here's the new identity you must adopt. I am a disciplined person, not because it's easy for me, but because I choose what's hard when it matters most. And you repeat that identity, even when you fail. Because discipline isn't about perfection. It's about returning, over and over, when your old self tells you to quit. You're not lacking discipline. You're lacking the decision to build it. And now that you see it clearly, there's no excuse left. So decide, every day, without exception, because discipline doesn't belong to the gifted. It belongs to the committed. Step 9. Procrastination grows in silence. So speak your goals. Out loud. Let's now talk about something deeper. Something most people never realize. The reason your procrastination feels so powerful is because no one knows about it but you. Your goals are private. Your habits are hidden. Your plans are locked away inside your own mind. And that gives procrastination a perfect place to grow, in the dark. Because what no one sees, you can delay. What no one expects, you can abandon. What no one tracks, you can ignore. And this is where people lose, not because they don't care about their goals, but because they never gave their goals a voice. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you promise yourself, I'll start waking up early from tomorrow. You think it, you feel it, you believe it. But you tell no one. You write it nowhere. You share no proof. It's a private deal between you and your silence. Now guess what? When tomorrow comes, and you don't wake up early, there's no consequence, no accountability, no pressure. No one knows, and no one cares. That's the secret your brain loves. The ability to fail in secret again and again, without ever being exposed. But the moment you bring your goal into the world, everything changes. When you say it out loud, when you write it in public, when you tell someone who will check on you. You take your goal out of the shadows and drag it into the light. And in the light, procrastination has nowhere to hide. This is called external accountability, and it's one of the most powerful forces for behavior change ever discovered. Not because people will judge you, but because you will now hold yourself to a higher standard. Because now your word means something. Now your integrity is on the line. Now there's weight behind your intentions. This is why some people start showing up after they make a commitment in public. They start a YouTube channel. They post daily progress online. They tell a friend to check on them. They hire a coach. They promise a group they'll deliver something. They make their procrastination visible. And that makes it harder to repeat. Because now, if they quit, someone will know. And that pressure, that tension, that feeling of being seen, that's what drives action when comfort fails. So here's your challenge. Speak your goal. Write your commitment. Tell someone your plan. Create accountability. Make it real. Make it known. Make it matter. Because procrastination survives in silence. But action grows in the presence of expectation. From this point on, you don't just carry your dreams inside your head. You carry them out into the world. And you let your voice become a contract. Because once you speak it, you can no longer ignore it. Step 10. Let regret scare you more than effort. Let's stop pretending that procrastination is just a bad habit. Let's stop calling it laziness. Let's stop saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," like that's not a dangerous sentence. Because it is. Every time you delay what matters, every time you put off your potential, every time you choose distraction over direction, you are not just wasting time. You are building a life you will regret. That's the truth no one tells you. You think the cost of procrastination is small. You think it's just a missed task, a lost hour, an undone item on a to-do list. But it's not. The real cost? It's your dream dying slowly, while you lie to yourself that you'll start someday, and that someday never comes, because it's always later, and when later becomes years, and years become your life, you finally look back and realize it's gone. Not just the time, but the confidence, the ambition, the fire, the chance to become what you could have been. And that is the most painful truth of all. Most people won't fail because they tried and lost. Most people will fail because they never started. They'll spend their whole life thinking they're not ready yet. They'll wait for clarity, energy, inspiration, permission, motivation. They'll say, "One day I'll change." But they won't, because they never feared regret more than they feared effort. They thought working hard would be painful. They thought starting would be stressful. They thought failure would hurt. And maybe it would. But they never imagined how much worse it would feel to stand at the edge of life, at 60, 70, 80 years old, and say, "I could have been more, but I never gave myself the chance." Not because they weren't smart, not because they weren't capable, but because they let fear, distraction, doubt, and laziness run their lives in silence. So today, I'm asking you one final question. What are you more afraid of? The pain of starting when it's uncomfortable? Or the pain of looking back one day, knowing you never tried? Because effort lasts minutes, but regret lasts a lifetime. That moment you push through the resistance, it might take 10 seconds of courage. That uncomfortable hour of work, it might feel hard today, but 5 years from now, You'll thank yourself for every second you chose progress over excuses. And 5 years from now, you'll hate yourself for every second you knew what to do and didn't. So here's what you must do now. Stop romanticizing tomorrow. Start fearing regret more than discomfort. Start remembering that the life you want is not given. It is built. And that the builder is you. Not someday. Not maybe. Not later. You. Because time will not wait. Life will not slow down. And your potential is not infinite. You get one life. And the tragedy isn't that it ends. The tragedy is that most people never live it fully. Because they kept pressing later. Until there was nothing left to press. You don't need more advice. You don't need more time. You don't need more plans. You need one thing. A decision. To stop betraying your future. To stop waiting for the perfect moment. To stop carrying the guilt of potential unused. The clock is running. And now, so must you. You've heard every step, not tips, not tricks, not hacks, but real, raw truths about why you've been stuck and how to finally move. This wasn't just a video. It was a reset. It was a mirror. It was the voice that no one else has been honest enough to say to you. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are not incapable. You're just late to war with a voice in your head that keeps saying, not yet. But now, that voice has met something stronger. Your decision. From this moment forward, you don't wait. You don't beg time to give you another chance. You don't wish for discipline. You become it. You don't wonder what could have been. You build what can still be. And if you fall again, so what? Stand up, begin again, but never stop. You're not chasing a goal anymore. You're chasing who you were meant to be. And that pursuit begins. Not tomorrow, not later, not when the time feels right. It begins right now. If this video woke something up inside you, if it reminded you of who you really are, then subscribe. Because we're not here to scroll through life. We're here to rise. We're here to change. We're here to win. God bless you.